Oh. Oh. Hey, Internet. Or should I say good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going on an adventure. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I gotta head out. But this time, I'm taking you with me. I'm running a little behind, so let's get going.
Context, right. Oh yeah. Now that the oh-so-dreaded adult years are upon me and my siblings, naturally, we're all starting to drift away from each other to chase our own ambitions. Yet, though the distance may gradually increase from this time on, with great effort, we still can see each other and go on grand adventures, in a way not so dissimilar to how we would so long ago as kids. This video is a testament to my claims, a digital manifestation of what has transpired during this recent trip, placed here to stay as a solidified memory for us and those of you who have chosen to witness it. On this 10-day trip, I road tripped around 3,000 miles. Starting from central Texas, I drove through New Mexico, Colorado, to Cody, Wyoming, and back. Here is what I filmed of it. I hope you enjoy trailing along with my family and I on this. We do get a little quirky from time to time here, so please kick back and let any giggles out freely should you feel any stirring within while watching this. You have my permission. Not that you needed it in the first place. So, day 1. We had to get an early start, so at 5:30 a.m. I hopped in my car. Linking up with my brother Daniel at a gas station, we filled up and got on the road. We had a lot of ground to cover that day. The drive would be around 11 and a half hours. Everything was going just fine for the first 5 or so hours, up until we were coming up on Amarillo. My eyes went wide with shock when my brother, who was leading in front of me at the time, threw on his hazard lights. Sweat from my hands made my steering wheel sticky as we both pulled over on I-27 North, which, to the side, is probably my favorite highway ever. I mean, it's just a straight, level area, well marked and maintained, 75 speed limit, and it's divided. It's the whole package. This highway is awesome. S tier. I never thought I'd rank a highway in my life. Well, here I am. I guess when you road trip across several states and back in a week, you start to rank the highways you're on. Anyway, my brother is flashing hazards, right? So we pull over and I'm trying to call him, but he doesn't answer. Weird. Instead, he hops out of his truck and walks back to my passenger window. Confused, I rolled down the window to hear him inform me that his phone bricked. Just up and murked itself. Impeccable timing for such a catastrophe. After that information settled, I realized he wouldn't have any navigation for the rest of the trip. I would be the only one knowing how to get where we needed to go. Now, to seasoned travelers, that may not be a problem. But to us Gen Z kids, if we didn't have Google Maps, 99.9% of us wouldn't go anywhere. Ever. Period. Yes, there are signs and stuff and maps. I know. Shut up. That won't help. Talking things over with that in mind, I took the lead and sole navigation role. I got nervous that I would lose my brother for forever as we funneled into Amarillo and the traffic hit, but he clung to my rear like a pro. He's pretty calm and tenacious on the road, unlike me. After a pit stop in Amarillo to see our mom for a few hours, we got right back to it. From there, no brakes, save for gas. Our route had us carving through a portion of New Mexico, which at this time of year is actually really beautiful. It was lush and green, and the numerous valleys often had storm clouds covering them. It made for some great B-roll footage, as you can clearly see for yourself. But that scenery, though great, feigned in comparison to our destination for the evening. If you're trekking through Colorado, you should carve through a place called Cuchara if you can. It's one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and that's not my opinion. This is objectively true. But I didn't see much on the drive there as it was near dark when we arrived. So more on that in a bit. Through a valley, up a windy, muddy road in the mountains, we arrived at a beautiful cabin. This would be our resting place for the night.
This area is so beautiful. If I didn't say, this place is called Cuchara. My granddad has a cabin here that we're staying at. And oh, just look at it. It's so pretty. Straight out of a book. We're up high in the mountains. I think the elevation's about like 8,000 feet, or yeah, 8,000 feet. Beautiful pine trees, beautiful evening, nice and cool. This just screams Colorado, this whole place right here, even this garage. What you gotta say about this?
I'm happy to be here. It was a wonderful drive, even though my phone broke.
Oh, his phone did explode.
And
Yeah.
I just meditated, listened to some silence, looked at the views.
This is like the quintessential dude vacation right here. This is the spot.
This is where you throw back a couple cold ones and talk about life.
That's right.
Shout out to my granddad for letting us stay here. He is a very good man. How? Well, not only did he provide us with lodging, he cooked us a mean dinner and poured me a couple of glasses of fine wine. That's above and beyond. Just like him.
A little wine and a meat and crackers after a long drive. Would you like some cheese with that water?
And would you just look at this place? I mean, it's strikingly beautiful. Oh, words are hard to describe. It's just a scene from one of your favorite books. As a novice writer, I yearn to live in a place like this. I would get so much work done, largely thanks to the breathtaking locale.
For the Bears. That's America.
After a dinner and a little booze, I soon realized how dog-tired I was. We soon turned in for the night, for we had one more big drive ahead of us. In the morning, our above and beyond granddad had coffee and a fine breakfast ready for us. After that, he even handed us a bag of hearty snacks so we wouldn't have to stop for food along the way. The man really set us up for success on the next leg of our adventure in every way possible. Love you, granddad. Here's some pictures of him. Tell him how awesome he is in the comments. After a brief, exciting encounter with a chipmunk,
Right foot. You're real jerky. Yeah.
we loaded up our stuff in the trunk and rolled down the muddy mountain trail with Grace together in my car. The next leg of our journey would take around 10.5 hours.
We are on the next leg of our journey to Cody, Wyoming.
To Cody.
Good work.
It is really bizarre. Look at that step mountain right there.
How does that work?
In contrast to like these green, lush valleys, you have this rocky, almost Badlands looking mountain.
Almost right here. That's insane.
Oh, I didn't even notice that yesterday. That's beautiful.
When you look at it from a distance, it looks like a wall.
What the hell happened over here?
Plate tectonics, bro?
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, what is
Yo,
that?
what? How? How the hell? What? That's like... It's like some giant just kind of wanted to build a little play wall with loose rocks, you know? A little fort. What the heck?
It is
Cool. How does that work?
I don't know.
It's so cool.
It's just so straight up in the air.
I think cuchara maybe draws a parallel to the Spanish name for cuchillo, which means knife. Those rocks right there kind of look like serrated knives. So,
No. Cuchara means spoon.
really?
Yeah, that's what cuchara means in Spanish.
Oh, so cuchillo is knife, cuchara is spoon. Why is it called spoon then?
Well, I was thinking you look at it from a far away, and the valley dips into these two mountain ranges, and it could be a spoon.
I'll let those clips speak for themselves. Cuchara is a geographical wonder in my eyes. To see such serrated, craggy rock faces cutting through these lush green valleys is something that will continue to puzzle me indefinitely at 3 a.m. every night. Part of me wanted to stop the car, jump out and frolic in the welcoming verdure with the giddy gait, and then climb those craggy outcrops, but there was no time for that. As much as I wanted a close and personal tour of this Colorado Shire, our destination lay far elsewhere at the end of the day. Plus, it was peak bear season at the time we were there. So, when the valley inevitably faded away behind us, I did my best to stay strong. We passed through Colorado Springs without a hitch, but when we hit Denver, the traffic got pretty intense. Thankfully, my brother beside me, who is now a Denver local, was there at my side to help me get through it. But hey, look at those Rockies! We continued up on I-25 North and soon passed the border into Wyoming. This route would be what we would take all the way to Cody, and since I'm on kind of a highway ranking tangent, I'll talk about I-25 North while I'm at it. This highway is the actual worst. F tier. It's alright through Denver, but construction is heavy just outside that city. I mean, it had us dodging and weaving all over the place. At times, I got genuinely nervous. The worst area by far would have to be the stretch from Cheyenne to Casper. The speed limit is 80, so we were going pretty fast, but there are so many dips and inclines on top of having to navigate through all these construction areas, it kinda made it feel like the dreaded Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. And, to top all that mayhem off, the rolling plains of this area in Wyoming are windy, which had my car lurching to and fro, or struggling while facing it directly. Just not good at all. On gas and my conscience. Horrible. I hate it. That was definitely the worst part of the trip for me, so yeah, F tier. I don't know what else to say, other than just be better, I-25 North. Alright, enough with that rant. All positive from here on out. The area from Thermopolis to Cody is where I was reanimated. The scenery is stellar on this stretch. From Boysen Park to the tunnels next to the river, just beautiful. You can really tell Yellowstone isn't far off at this point. Finally, after dodging a few tumbleweeds, yes, actual tumbleweeds just outside of Cody, which unfortunately was not filmed, but it really solidified the fact that I was now in cowboy territory officially. We moseyed on into town as the sun was making its descent under the mountains. United with another chunk of my family, we ate dinner and called it a night. The 2-day trip to get here was over with. I thought I would be able to sleep in the following morning. This was not the case, for my nephew was insistent on having his uncles and aunt walk him to school. Well, we walked. He rode. After dropping off, escorting our nephew to school, on the way back we were greeted by a very sweet cat that was out enjoying the morning sun. She clearly was one of the neighbors, so I was cautious at first, but she walked right up and I just can't resist cats. We gave her a good morning fazoozle and headed back to the house.
Yeah.
That's a pretty.
Oh, so sweet. She's a good girl. Such a fluffy tail.
After breakfast, my little brother, older sister, and I decided to go paddleboarding at a lake just outside of town. It was pretty windy, but an otherwise lovely day. At one point, we all three got on one single paddleboard and went out. Miraculously, we didn't tip. Here's some extra footage of me filming Daniel out on his own, me itching for him to fall in for some good content. But he didn't. I cut into some watermelon we brought with us after we were tired of paddling.
Cheers.
Once we got our fill, Daniel serenaded us and the other lake goers around us. It was a good time. The only weird thing about the experience was a series of constant wailing from just over a hill by the lake. It sounded like hundreds of cows were being massacred. The next day, we wanted to drive through the 2 mountains looming over Cody. This road would take us to the east gate of Yellowstone. The views leading up to it were spectacular, from the tunnels that spit you out just next to the Buffalo Bill Reservoir to the various ranch trails and lodges darting the hills around us. It was great. Till this point, I had only ever been to Cody in the winter, so to see all this greenery instead of snow gave a whole new impression that I'm glad to finally have witnessed. Since a lot of Yellowstone is closed due to the extensive flooding just recently, we stopped short in the Pawhuska Teepee area. Apparently, this was a location that Bill Cody, Buffalo Bill, built a hunting lodge to accommodate guests for hunting tours. Apparently, he hacked a tree with an axe to mark exactly where it would be built. So, to commemorate that, I bought a hat, and then we turned back. Next, we decided to play street tourist, walking Cody's main street and visiting a few shops. The structure of this town reminds me a lot of my German hometown in Texas. What puts this place over that is the views. I mean, you just can't get past those mountains looming over this town. This whole area just screams of the tales of cowboys and Indians, or a John Wayne movie set. Reminiscing on those fireside stories, I almost passed by Buffalo Bill himself, unaware. That was a close one. Sup, partner? Fist bump?
This is Bill Cody.
When we finally got tired of walking around, we wanted to make a fine dinner for our brother and his family. So we went to the grocery store. One mean steak and chicken Alfredo later, we hit the sack. I can't remember what day we did this, but we went to the Cody Radio Show at some point. Cody claims it's the rodeo capital of the world, which I can agree with upon witnessing a show. They have a big show every evening from the start of summer to fall. Pair that with all the tourism, I'm positive they bring in huge numbers of people every year. I didn't bring my camera to this, unfortunately, so I don't have any footage to show. That was a mistake. I really should have. I grew up around horses and cattle for most of my childhood, and so have gone to many horse races and rodeos. But since those days are long behind me now, and I'm a pasty white guy who loves computers, I long forgot just how American these rodeo shows are. These things are so over the top western and cowboy, it's hilarious and awesome. To nail this experience in a sentence, there's something about cowgirls riding horses around a dusty arena flying the flags of both the US and Pizza Hut and Dairy Queen as the announcer spitfires advertisements as they ride past in a western slang accent at a near auctioneer level of speed that just oozes American patriotism on a level I cannot fully justify in enough words. I guess I don't have to. So I won't. I'll leave it at that. The experience brought back many childhood memories that had laid dormant within for many years. The white, rusting metal bleachers, the smell of dust and manure hitting your nostrils as the bulls and broncos kick up the arena bucking at their daring riders. Yeah, this is America. The next couple of days, more of our family showed up, and we largely stayed at the house and didn't do a whole lot more adventuring. It was great to have near the whole gang in one place. As we continue to grow older, that is something that naturally will continue to get harder and harder to do. We did go fishing. I caught a couple trout, which my dad helped me cook up, and it was tasty. We also cooked a very extravagant dinner too on the last night together, which was great. But what definitely took the cake on the whole trip for me was when we all went to a lake just outside of town and went paddleboarding together. It was a perfect day for such an outing, and a perfect activity to end the trip on. This trip really made me fall in love with paddleboarding, if anything else, so I aim to purchase one for myself sometime soon. Out on the lake, we did a lot of catching up and had fun together, which to me brought back similar experiences we used to do a lot more when we were all younger.
On that Thursday morning, I just have to sing a thing. Maybe she would never see me night. Shall we stay? I go here on me. She would feel it like another dance. Then everything may go wrong. Cause my baby, she's a real
Of course, our oldest brother Caleb had to get us in the water somehow. Eventually, he and Daniel were the first to take the plunge. I followed soon after, unfortunately. Though I have had very little experience paddleboarding, I seem to be a natural at it, which made me get a little cocky.
I got that on video.
Yeah, we got that on film. Woo!
No, he lost his balance. How was that?
Brilliant.
I told you it wasn't. Don't lose your
So
glasses.
you did that on purpose?
I almost lost my glasses.
Because you didn't think you'd fall.
No, I didn't.
Did you think you were just testing your balance and then fell?
Yeah.
I see.
All things come to an end, for better or worse. In the morning, Daniel and I said our goodbyes and got on the way back. We had to make it back to Kuchara again by the end of the day. Aside from the pretty views I missed out on the way up, there wasn't much new as we headed back to Colorado. I-25 and I-26 still sucked, and Denver traffic doesn't miss, I guess. But we got some really cool shots. In the evening, we met the familiar valley that we had launched from at the start of this journey. Here are some cool shots of Kuchara in the evening to really sell you on it if I haven't done so already. Our granddad was there waiting for us with another fine hot dinner on top of the mountain as we made our way up. That evening was in much ways a repeat of our first night together. Dinner, wine, and good times. In the morning, I saw a gobble of turkeys and another chipmunk. I was really hoping to see a bear this trip, but these will have to do. After another hearty breakfast, it was time for me to say my goodbyes to both Granddad and my little brother. The last leg of this trip, from Colorado back to Central Texas, would be on my own. After broing it out with Daniel, who would be heading back to Denver for college, I made my way down the hill, ready to get home. I don't know about you, the viewer, but I love solo road trips. Driving is one of the things where I get the most thinking done. I guess it feels like a task, in a way, the action of pursuit to an objective. When you cycle through your favorite music, podcasts, and keep your eyes forward, each second spent a second closer than where you were to your destination, taking periodic breaks to dart your eyes to the shifting scenery as the hours go by, shifting your hands on the steering wheel as you take a peer outside to the places you will never step in, only see, and maybe only for just that one time ever, because that's not your destination, though it may be others. And especially those times where you pause the music to give your ears a break and listen to your own thoughts, and the sound of the engine and whir of the tires treading the ground below you, it really opens up my mind. Yeah, this last leg of the trip was good for me. There were only two things of note that happened on my way back. The first one happened in Clayton, a small town in New Mexico close to the Texas border. I was driving through on its main street when I see a guy in a white tank top and black running shorts jogging down the sidewalk. As I pass him, I, for some reason, choose to take a look in the rearview mirror at his back as he continues to jog. Well, the jogger's shorts must have been a little too big for him, or maybe he was slacking on purpose, but for the second I looked in the mirror, I was greeted by his ass on full display. I mean, his shorts were near down to his knees. The reaction of disgust as I tore my gaze back to the road soon turned to delight, however. It's those kind of things that can really ground you in the present moment sometimes. Had I not gone on this trip and been on my way back at this exact time and not looked in the mirror, I wouldn't have seen that. Yeah, I was meant to go on this trip. I wish I could take a screenshot of that exact moment when I looked in the rear view. It would be a perfect album cover. I guess it's just gonna stay in my head then. Nobody probably wants to see that. Anyway, destiny works in strange ways sometimes, I guess. The other event of note was when I was in the Abilene area. High winds from a dark thunderhead in the distance was really kicking up a dust bowl as I drove, limiting my visibility. I mean, it was like a sandstorm. That layer of dust was soon washed away by heavy, heavy rainfall as I met the storm clouds head on. It was a very scary, but oddly serene scene to me. This energy of excitement grew and grew little by little the closer I came to home. In some way, it was like the trip charged me up. Though the multiple days of driving had me weary in the eyes, my chest was full of warmth. It kept my foot on the pedal. The closer I got, the more ready I was to get back to chasing my goals. All things come to an end, for better or worse. I made it home, ready more than ever to finish off this year strong.
Hey everyone, I was dearly missed. I drove about 11 hours today to get back home from Colorado, and that ends the trip. It was a great time. I had a really great time. For those of you who made it to the end here, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my little adventure here. Well, it wasn't little at all. It was a really large road trip. I went like at least 3,000 miles total. Yeah, don't expect videos like these often because 99% of my year is boring and mundane adult stuff, you know. But yeah, thanks all for watching. I'm gonna go to bed. Good night.